Welcome back. Tennis's governing bodies denying a cover-up or ignoring alleged match fixing at the top of the sport. The BBC and BuzzFeed says documents from a whistleblower say that for the past decade, several players have thrown matches for money. World Sports' Don Riddell joins me now. Don, this is an incredible story. Now, these allegations did surface in 2007. So what's new?
Well, the fact that the BBC and BuzzFeed have got hold of these secret documents which contain more details than we've heard before. And the numbers are quite alarming. 16 players, top 50 players over the last decade, including Grand Slam champions in both singles and doubles, who are all allowed to continue playing. So this is certainly pretty shocking. You know, those that cover the sport and spend a long time covering the sport have themselves been frustrated that nothing has seemingly been done about this. And this is one of the central allegations here. This is why these whistleblowers release these documents to the media. Not just that this is happening, but their allegation is that the governing bodies have been ignoring or suppressing or really not doing anything about it. And that is something that the ATP Tour chief, Chris Commode, absolutely denies. This is what he said earlier at the Australian Open.
The Tennis Integrity Unit and the tennis authorities absolutely reject any suggestion that evidence of match fixing has been suppressed for any reason or isn't being thoroughly investigated. And while the BBC and BuzzFeed reports mainly refer to events from about 10 years ago, we will investigate any new information, and we always do.
The timing of this just couldn't be any worse for tennis. The Australian Open has just begun. That's the first major event of 2016. And of course, for sport in general, 2015 was an awful year with the scandal and the corruption of FIFA. The IAAF, World Athletics, accused of covering up a doping scandal. And now, 2.5 weeks into 2016, we've got this. And this has blown up at a major sports event. And of course, it's the only talking point in Melbourne today.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, 16 players allegedly involved in match fixing. Any idea whether those players are playing in this Grand Slam in Melbourne?
Honestly, we're not sure. All we know is that they have been allowed to continue playing. It's very, very difficult to prove match fixing. I've covered match fixing in soccer. It's very, very hard to prove it. But what is of real concern is that tennis as a sport is particularly vulnerable. You only need 2 people to fix a match. Really, you only need 1. And a lot of these players are very, very vulnerable. They're self-financed. You know, we hear about Novak Djokovic and Serena Williams making millions and millions and millions of dollars every season. But there's a lot of lower-ranked players who turn up to tournaments. They have to self-finance. They have to travel around the world. They have to put themselves up in hotels. If they go out on the first or second round, they're really not making any money. And if somebody approaches you and offers you $50,000, $100,000, that could be very, very tempting. And these guys are playing on outside courts that aren't televised, that nobody's really watching. They're not really accountable to anyone. A lot of them don't have coaches. So you can see how it could be able to happen. And this is a real problem for the sport that they need to address, and the spotlight's very much on them today.
Absolutely. We'll have to see what comes of their internal investigations.
Yeah.
Don Riddell, great to have you on set.
Okay.
Thank you.